Hi, I'm Kathy Furno, the Executive Director of PTSI. Today I want to bring you up to date about exactly what PTSI is doing. I know many of you are kind of getting a little impatient, a little anxious about the rescheduling of our courses. So I want to share with you exactly what's happening on our end so to help you better understand where we're at, why we're doing what we're doing. So one of the things that we are faced with are the challenges of reopening. To begin with, here in central New York, we are in phase one. It's anticipated that we will move into phase two at the end of the week, but there's no guarantees. There's no advance notice. So we have to wait until we actually move into phase two. And when we do, then we have to submit our reopening plan to the county and self-affirm that PTSI will be following all of the CDC guidelines for reopening safely. And certainly, we want to make sure that our customers are safe. That's our primary concern right now, is to make sure that when you walk into our classroom, you're confident that we're doing everything we can and should to keep you safe. So, as we move toward reopening in phase two, we are looking at our courses that we typically schedule all over the state. Well, part of our challenge is that the different parts of the state are reopening at different rates. We're not all moving into phase two. Downstate, some places are not even in phase one yet. So we have to really kind of look at the area where the course was originally scheduled for and make sure that that area has been approved to reopen at least in phase two. PTSI is a phase two business. So in phase two, we're allowed to reopen with a lot of restrictions and limitations. Part of those limitations are that we have to socially distance. We're only allowed 10 people in any one gathering. We have to make sure that we provide hand sanitizer. We have to make sure that the desks are separated. The foot traffic in and out of our classroom has to be clearly marked, and the signage, has to be everywhere. So we're doing all the things that the CDC guidelines suggest for us in terms of the contacts, the contact tracing abilities, all of it. But we only own one facility here in East Syracuse, New York. So as we look at scheduling courses in other areas, we have to look at their area. Has it been reopened in phase two? But the business that's offering us the facility, what phase are they in? Are they a phase two business? Are they able to open? And we need to do this before we are able to schedule a class in their facility, because we have to attest that we're following the CDC guideline, but we don't have control over that facility. So we have to work closely with the people who own the facility to make sure that they're following the CDC guideline. And so we're working those issues out with the people that we typically, use and rent space from. Another part of our challenge is that if that business is not a phase two business, even though the area is in phase two, we cannot use that facility. They have to be open. So if they're a phase three business, or like most educational facilities, if they're in phase four, we're not going to be able to schedule a class in that facility. As we look for alternatives such as libraries and hotels, again, not necessarily phase two businesses. So we're working out all of those issues. But one of the things that has really dramatically slowed this process is that 75% of PTSI's employees have been furloughed. And over the short term, because of our dependency on school district revenue, they're not coming back right away. We're going to certainly bring them back as soon as we can, because truly we miss them and we need them. But we have to be fiscally responsible and safe at the same time. So we're working through all of these challenges with fewer hands, which slows that process. So in spite of all that, we've created a plan, and we've begun to work on that plan. And so right now, what's happening is that the classes in Rochester, Syracuse, and Albany that were postponed, those registrants have been sent an email with a link to our rescheduling, and they're giving the opportunity to reserve a seat in one of the rescheduled classes. Once we move through those people and we give them all that opportunity, then we will open it up to the public. So what that means is that whether you're from upstate or where in the state, you can register for one of the rescheduled classes if you're willing to travel to East Syracuse. We will open up other locations as we're able to, but right now, that's very difficult. We're still monitoring it closely, but we have to control the safety of the environment for you, and we have to ethically maintain our affirmation to the county and the state that we are following the CDC guidelines. So we're doing the best we can on that. So once we get beyond the people who were registered and postponed here in upstate, we will use that same process in other areas as they open and we're able to do that. Besides that, we're going to start scheduling classes throughout the week. We're going to be doing 2 a day, so that you can either go early in the day or you can do the latter part of the day, especially if you have to travel any amount of distance to get here, so that we can offer, recertification to 20 people a day and keep that process moving. We are checking on the other areas of the state constantly, trying to work out a way for us to be able to comfortably but safely be able to provide for classes in other areas. So all of that is what PTSI is working on every day. In addition to that, we are keeping up with the processing of the New York State Education Department PDS, which seems to be going fairly smooth. We've learned a lot in this process, so that if we ever have to do it again, we'll be better at it. I think both PTSI will be better at it, and I think the SBDIs and the MIs will be better at it as well. So what can you do? We've heard from a lot of really good people that are grateful that we're here, grateful that we're working hard to do what we can for them. But so often people will say, what can we do for you, Kathy? Well, here's what you can do. You can be patient with us. And you can understand that DMV does not expect you to be 100% compliant all the way through this pandemic. They know that it's impossible. They know that you're under a lot of restrictions. They know that if your school district is closed, you're taking on a huge liability by continuing to do some of the things that DMV may mandate. So they get it. And they're going to make accommodations. If you should be audited, they get it. They're going to be making accommodations for that. PTSI, over here on the other hand, is doing our best to offer the recertification classes for certified examiners as quickly as we can to help you get in compliance whenever you can. Beyond that, the one most single important thing that I ask of you is to be kind. Be kind to each other. Be kind to my staff. Be kind to people in general, understanding that everyone is doing the best they can. And that when something is being done a certain way that perhaps provides you with an additional challenge, just know that, PTSI is not sitting here thinking of ways to make your life harder. That's not what we're about. So please be understanding that we are under a whole set of constraints, limitations, and restrictions that you may not even be aware of. And so we're doing the best we can. Be kind to my staff when you call. And the truth is, through all of this, the harsh realities of what we're living with today, I think we owe each other a little kindness. Have a great week. We'll see you soon, I hope, and stay safe. Thanks.